sitting in a room where I did, where my dad was a Cub Scout master. So in this room, I can remember with its unique ceilings all around. I can remember sitting in chairs on that side of the room, and my dad was on this side of the room in charge of the whole group. It was like 50 kids and their families and all, and he was always in charge of the big gatherings. And he wasn't that old at that point in time. I guess he would have been like 35, and he was a giant. To me, he was a hero. He was in front of this whole group. He would tell great jokes. He would celebrate each kid's accomplishments in the Cub Scouts, and I can remember about that age, like right over here off camera, right behind us. I can remember vividly being a little 5-year-old kid on my dad's shoulders, and being aware of the first time that I'm sitting on top of a moving human being, and thinking like, I don't want to tip him over. I don't want to knock him over. I just remember feeling that as a 5-year-old, that I might, something I did might cause him to knock over, but he was much bigger than me. And so he's been a giant in my life and my brother's lives, and a lot of people's lives around him. He was a hero in the work he did for the EPA. He helped the EPA eliminate smog in our large cities in America. That was what his team did. And there's a lot of things he did that were great. But what he did that was especially good was he never left me with some sense that I needed to live up to anything about how he did. He was my hero, but it was sort of hero that didn't make me feel small. He didn't, I didn't have some expectations that I needed to live up to, like my dad's reputation. And that was a gift. And then I got this text today from my wife that is sent to me and my son, and it's a picture of when my son and I went to Ireland. We were helping coach a basketball camp in Ireland, and that's us at the airport getting ready to leave. And underneath it, my wife had sent it to my son, David, and to me, and says, "You have an amazing dad." And I don't know what it's like for my kids. I know what it was like for me to have my dad as my dad. I don't know what it was like for my dad to have his dad as a dad. And so I just know my journey. And so I want to say this, like, amazing dad or not, I don't know. I had an amazing dad. Even more than I'd like to be an amazing dad, what I would want is my kids to not feel pressure to live up to some expectation I have them in terms of being great or whatever. I don't want what I'm like to put pressure on them. I want what I'm like to invite them to join in. So let me say that again. I don't want what I'm like to put pressure on them to live up to something, and I don't want what I'm like to be something that was so bad that they just want to escape it. I want what I'm like, what I want for my kids is for them to join in. And by join in, I mean, I don't want them to be good. I don't want them to not do drugs and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's not my goal. My goal is that my kids join in. So here's an example. So when I was 20, I helped a homeless guy one time. And I can still picture him, Larry. And then I got a text from my son the other night. Hey, Dad, I'm on my way home from work. Is walking through the downtown urban area where we live, and he stopped to get a homeless man some pizza. So I don't want my kids to be good. I want them to join in what God is doing, right? So this isn't about good, bad, great, living up to some sort of thing. I want for them the same things that Jesus wants for them. I want to have been a person that shows them a way where we can love God and love our neighbors and be durable in that. So I want my kids to join in loving our neighbors. So when my other son, James, gets home from work the other day, he's tired, but 2 kids live in a house behind us, don't have a stable family situation. They called me to say, can we take them to the basketball park? I want my son to recognize that's a moment that God has given us. God has entrusted those kids for a minute with us. I want my son to grasp that and to go with me and not moan and complain. I want him to go with me when we go play we go to the first basketball park and it's full, and he thinks of another place for us to go. Instead of being like, good, I don't have to do this. Instead, he thinks we can go here. Then I want him to do what he did do, which was go with us to Krispy Kreme afterwards and be a part of celebrating getting this kid, Jewels is his name, getting Jewels a box of donuts. I want my son to understand how to live like Jesus. I want my sons and my daughter to live. Anybody that gets in my sphere, whether they are blood related or not, what I want for them has nothing to do with my reputation or any of that. What I want them to do is I want them to join in on this, the way we're trying to do life. Did I say that clearly? This is what I want. I want my kids, anyone who comes in our path, to join in on the way we do life, which is to try to find ways to actively love people, to try to find ways to do anything we can to be helpful to one another, to show God's love. So that's what I want. That's what I want for my kids, is to join in on a way of life. I don't want them to live up to, I don't care about where they go to college. I don't care about what jobs they get. I don't care about that. I only care about that so that they can be a blessing in the world in the ways that fit with their personality. So that's something I've been thinking about quite a bit lately.